the,
Hello,
on the,
Tracy. Hello.
right, Jean's joined us. Do it, so can you?
Yeah, where is share?
Right, listen.
Yeah.
Denise, listen.
I'm listening.
On the right-hand side of your screen,
Yes.
right, you'll see this.
Yeah.
You'll see the symbol sign for a video, for a camera. Click onto that.
Now there's one on the left.
Oh, is it? Well, mine's on my right.
I've got a
Never
camera
mind.
on the left.
Right, then we'll
And
click it. Click it.
click it, and it just comes up as Zoo Lifestyle Management.
What?
That's it. That's all it. And
Oh,
then
well,
I unclick it, and then I'm not there.
right.
This is my sister. Sorry.
All right. Well, listen. Listen, as long as you can see
Oh,
the screen.
what pity you can't see my large glass of wine.
Oh.
Right, listen. Let's crack on because I've got the Welsh lurgy at the moment and I'm dying here. Right, look, guys. What I really want to try and do is just to share a little bit of what we do when what I do, should I say, when we actually get replies back from adverts. It's a simple process, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it all into a package and send it all over to you. If you want to use it, use it. There's not a problem at all. And the reason why I tend to send this out, you're going to see from letter 1 from the replies that I send out. To me, it's trying to keep it clean and professional as possible, and it's really setting what you call it as a presentation regarding your time. All right.
Right.
Can you go on to the next slide?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, good. So my
next.
team, you've seen this. This is letter 1. This is what I normally do. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to send this over to you. When a reply comes in, this is what I send, right? And it's so important you put a link on the first reply of the advert that was replied to. Is because you don't want to waste your time, especially you, Denise, because you're in London and you get loads of replies back. And then replies that come back, we know when people are on the dole or playing the system, they just press a button and reply for 10, 20, 30 jobs. If they can't remember your job, I mean your ad, you're wasting your time on the phone. So I put this on the first reply when I send it to them, and they can click on that because I know what it was like when I was applying for jobs and applying for I didn't just apply for one, I applied for loads of them. And if I wasn't printing them off so I remember if they get in touch with me, sometimes I used to forget which ones I've applied for. So that's why I send this out as well. And I get some strong feedback. If I don't get anything back, no replies back, I'll pick up the phone, then I'll ring them. This is just my method. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but this is my method. Could you go on to the next slide?
Do you do that before you speak to them on the phone then?
Yep, I do, because they reply to you by email, and I reply them back straight away. And sometimes, if you're quick enough and you catch them at the right time, they reply back, because don't forget, they can get emails on their phones at work.
Yeah.
I'm free at 1, I'm free at 2. And you ring, and if you're free to ring them at that time, great. If not, you follow up and try and fit it within your diary.
Because I've been texting straight away first.
No,
and I tried that method. I sent a link in my text messages to people, but I don't think it was very productive.
It's also of course because everybody's different. We're dealing with different human beings here, different people, different characters, you know. So from the first call, the first thing I do is establish if it's still okay to speak. They've come back to me. This is just a scenario. They've come back to me. Yes, I can speak at such a time. So I'll say something like, "Hi, John. Just confirming that you can speak. Is it okay to still speak?" Because sometimes, even though they said 1 o'clock, you rang them at 1 and they're not in a position to speak to you. So there's no point of you going into your pitch. And even before you do that, there's no point of going into your pitch if you've not qualified, if you remember your advert. Because when I get the advert, when I get them coming on, I ask them, what did they see in the advert, why they applied? And then I roll it and start talking about what they saw. You know, it could be It could be some of the car plan. It could be it's flexible. It could be the residual income, the money, and that's open up a rapport for you to start having a conversation with him. Because don't forget, you've only said in your letter it's a 5-minute call, so that's what you want to try and do. Okay. So this, like I said, these are the scenarios what I try and get for you guys. So next one, next slide, please. So it is important to start building a rapport from soon as you contacted them, and I think the letter method and the phone method combined gets that rapport going. I mean, some of them will ask questions straight away, and if you're in that position that you can answer it, answer it. Don't skate about it. A lot of people say to me, they come to me and say, Fitz, is this network marketing? Is it Forever Living? Is it Clean Easy? Is it this, that, and the other? Now, rather than skate around it, tell them what it is. In the early part, when I first started doing, and I've only been in the business for not even 2 years, I used to skate around it. I found it not embarrassing. I found it that, shit, what if they know about this and they don't like this? What if they think it's pyramid selling? I ask them. I tell them if they ask me. But it's very, very rare from a CV point of view when someone sees a CV in that they ask me. All right. And again, before coming off the phone, I need to clarify that next time I'm going to speak to him. So they've applied. I've sent the letter back, the letter 1. They've given me a time to ring. I've rang him, and when I come off the phone, and I've told them the information I'm going to send them. I'm going to send them, which is you'll see in a minute on the next slide. I'm going to send them. I'm going to send them some links and 3 special reports that they're going to read. I'll explain the letter. Can you go to the next slide, and I'll explain it a bit more. So again, just going through some sample phone calls. You know, John, it's great. You have lots of questions, but as I mentioned, this is just a brief to establish your needs. So you're asking about them. You've asked them about what they saw in the ad, and you're taking some notes down. Now, if you've got time, I like profiling because most people have either got Facebook, LinkedIn, and just find a little bit about them. Don't mention that you've been searching for them, but you can mention something like would be football, cricket, this, that, and the other, and bring something up in the conversation, and then you'll tend to find that rapport starts to click, and they're more prone to actually look at the information properly. The reason why I've took this method and I've picked most of this method from Phil, because Phil's very good at bringing people on, and he does bring a lot of people on, and he's always used this particular method, you know. So now I'm going to send you this slide as well, everybody, this slide as well. So again, if I look at the 3 reports, I'm going to send him 3 reports. I tell him what's actually in the reports. I tell him what's actually, I say what's in the reports, what he expects what's coming into the reports. So I'm setting expectations of what's coming to see it, what's coming over to him. Now, the only time I let them choose a time when they want to is that it's to come and speak to me again, is if they can't do the dates I want. Because it's setting precedents about yourself and your time. It's now Tuesday. It's now Tuesday, John. If I send you the information over, what's a good time you can come? You know, then I'll speak to him in that set again. So I would say I'm free on Thursday, the same time as today. Is that okay with you? And shut up. And then I go forward. The majority of the time, they say, you know, Thursday's fine this time, because it's about your time. And if you've noticed, just in that little briefing there, the most important word to any human being is their own name. I've mentioned his name a few times. You know, it's now Tuesday. It's now Tuesday. It should be a little bit. It's now Tuesday, John. If I send you this information, when's a good time to look at it full, which will enable us to speak again in more detail, John. I'm free Thursday at the same time. And again, I've mentioned in that little brief that his name 3 times. It is important that you establish the value of your time, because we all know we've got to put people in our pipeline and we've got to speak to them more. And but sometimes when they apply for something like this, let's say you, Denise, at the moment you're getting quite a lot of replies. But if you start getting the replies from this ad, you're only going to get about 18 to 20. The simple reason is it says it's commission only. It says more or less what they can do, and they've got to work for it. so they know this is not a paid job. So they're going to come, they're actually looking to do something for themselves. Can I have the next slide, please?
With Denise, actually, she gets so many replies from the job site ad we've been doing. You are probably better off, Denise, emailing them back as Pip said, the advert, and then, you know, because you're going to weed people out from that.
Yeah, I do spend a lot of time talking to people. They don't even have a clue what it is.
They don't know what they've applied for, so you're better off. Send them back the advert and saying, if you're still interested, get back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of sending that first reply, because people are applying for more jobs. The professionals, and you will get one or two of them. There's a couple in my pipeline now. There's two of them that flies all around the world. The one's in oil. I forget what the other one does. And when you look at his CV, this guy's got diplomas everywhere, and he's always over the place. But yet he's interested. And I've been talking to him for over probably 3 months now, but he's still interested. You know, so again, I'm not going to go through the samples. I'm going to send all the sample replies. I'm going to send this all over to you. It's just an idea and a little bit of briefing of how I do mine. So again, when I agree a time with them, I will say it 3 times. I will mention it. So John, Wednesday the 9th at 5:30. If anything crops up, because things do crop up in people's life, please let me know. I work off a diary planner, and I do. And I don't want to be sitting here at 5 o'clock trying to phone someone and I'm not around. I could have done something else, you know. So again, I clarify that. Now, I don't know if any of you can you just go on the next slide as well. I don't know if any of you guys have it's like a message time delay on your texts.
Yeah, I've got that.
I know the Samsung phone has that. And what Zoe and I do, let's say for instance I was supposed to be speaking to Tracy on Monday. When I come off the phone after speaking to her now, I will go into my phone on my diary, and in my phone I'll put a reminder text and to be sent in advance. Let's say for instance Saturday, just to remind on Saturday that I'm speaking to you on Monday. And I've done that, so I don't have to do it on Monday or Tuesday. I've sent you a text, and that's simple to set up. And if you sometimes on our phones when we're doing our drive campaign to get people on, well, in our phones there's loads of text ready to send out automatically. We've already done it. All right. Again, I don't know if you work on a prospect tracker, but I document not every word, but every bullet point that I've spoken to somebody about. And if you want to use my prospect tracker, ask for it and I'll send it over to you. My prospect tracker works. I have my first tab will have friends and Facebook. My next tab will have pipeline, and then my next tab will have anything from adverts. And each time I get an advert and I've spoken to somebody, so I've spoken to Tracy today, I put in today's date, I put in what the little bullet points what I've said, and then bullet points with things like she says this is what she said she wanted out of life and why she's changing her job, because sometimes you're talking to quite a lot of people. You've got to remember them bits, what's personal to her or to the person you're talking to. So that's how I do mine. And again, them notes come invaluable when I'm ringing on the second time. Can you go to the second one, please? Oh, next slide. Sorry. Right. Now, this is the second letter I send out. Now, if you can see the part in the blue, sorry about the small writing, can you see the part in the blue? That's personal to the last conversation I've had with them. You know, it was a pleasure pleasure talking to you, and you bring up some of the notes what you've spoken about. You know, it's good that you've got some time to look at the business, and it's things like looking through the business. It's important to take this the whole information in full. Now that is a live one from somebody else. I've took a little bit off because it's a little bit personal to them, and they was looking to get out. She told me everything. One, she needs to get out of work because her boss was hitting on her, and all this kind of stuff. So they're emotional bits that you've got to actually just fine tune to say, look, you know, in other words, it shows that you've been listening to her as well. And then the next bit where it says, please ping me, email me back at the receipt with this information, that doesn't change. That downwards doesn't change for me. It's just that what's in blue, that will change personal from the first conversation I had with them. Can I go on to the next slide, please? Thank you. And you see again with the letter 2, this is just on the letter. It's part of the letter. I'm going to send you all this. Mess around with it when you want to. The only thing is you can't click on the link, the hyperlinks, because it's on Helen's computer. And on the hyperlinks, it's got the special reports 1, 2, and 3. I've mentioned the special reports. I mentioned it to him. I told him what's coming. I've even told him you might need a good hour to sit down with a brew or a glass of wine and look through this information seriously. I'll send you a what's it called? A PowerPoint presentation of that, and you can change it and doctor it to yourself, right? But when you see it, you'll understand. Then you save it in PDF. I'll send you the templates so you can change it if you want to use it. That's not a problem as well. But I find this bit works. Can you go on to the next slide, please? And again, even if it's not for them after when you've sent a few bits, you know, and that's just another scenario that I've come on what I've said, you know. What I've said. So sorry. You're right, Luke. You know. So again, I'm not going to go through it and read it, but the point of this, it's just a scenario to get you guys thinking outside the box. Because there's sometimes when someone comes on letter 1 before I send it and they ask a few questions, they sometimes suss what it is, and then when I send the second bit of information, they say it's not for them, and I tend to just to say this little spiel, and I go through this little spiel, and even at the beginning, I say there's 3 bits of information that's going to come to you. It's best to go all the way through the information to the end before you make your mind up. If too many people come to section 3, the section letter 2, you sent them a special report, they've not bothered, and they've just replied back, I'm not going to do this, I've been before, I've done this, but you need to ask them, did they see the business in full, did they go to any presentations, and just establish that. Can you have the next slide, please? And again, the callback is pretty much like before. You know, the callback is you've broken the ice a little bit from the first call. The second call, you really, and I said I've done my Google search, I've done my Facebook, I've done links, I've just searched a little bit more about them, like I said to you before. And again, you're just establishing better grounds for them on this second call, and this is when you can open up the dialogue a bit more. Do your 2 or 3 minute introduction of more of yourself about what you saw in the business, why you came in the business, and the report starts to build and build and build and build. And again, I always ask them, is it okay for them to speak? And again, have they looked at the information? And then I ask them to tell them what bits of the information that stood out for them. Because if you don't do that and you don't understand it, it's giving them the test, because going through this process, I find sometimes you might think it's long-winded, but if I've got the time and effort to spend an hour or so to just look through this and look through it properly, 1, they're going to understand it. 2, you're not going to waste your time trying to explain the business over the phone or Skype. Skype is good if you can get their attention and do it a one-to-one for them. That's brilliant, you know. But this is just feedback from an advert to start off with. You can go straight into Skype if they've got it and do it that way. It's not a problem. And then you can use your one-to-one presentations as well on that. Can I have the next slide, please? Again, the callback is the same, and I tend to find out when I'm asking on this on section 3, I never go and say, so what do you think? You know, I always shout down and says, you know, John, you have time to look at this information, yes? Pretty amazing stuff, yes? You know, and you go through that. You build it up yourself. You bring the bullet points out. What's good for you, that they can remember. You bring up the benefits. They can see the benefits and what the products do for around the family. They can see the earning potentials. Did the Emma Cooper video blow their mind away? You know, it's all about setting the expectation for them to come into the right frame of mind to ask the right questions. And again, it's their turn for our turn to be quiet and their turn to speak. And sometimes I've probably had it once or twice where you're not feeling anything from them. So you go back to the first set of notes about little Johnny needs this, whatever scenario they've given you, they want to finish work, they want to get away from the boss, they want this, and then you bring that into it again, and they start to gem up about what they're really looking for again, and then sometimes they open up and be honest and say, actually Fitz, I didn't have time to really look at it. Then I would say, look, have a look at it, and I'll ring you back, I'll book again, because you don't want to be wasting your time. Can I have the next slide, please? Oh, again, just go forward because it's the same thing. Okay, so I can't send you this. It's a shame I couldn't put this. I couldn't click on the little bits. Again, the final letter, or I say part of the final information, is again using the first paragraph, personal to what you were talking about before. Thanks for coming back before we speak again, and you've got all that kind of stuff. Registering, please. You've got all that little part of that paragraph. It should have been in blue, so I do apologise. And again, it's about getting them to understand the process of going through stage by stage and not bombarding them with it too much. And again, the letter from where it says, please ping me back a quick email, that bit downwards never changes. It's just the top bit which is personal to them. Now, I'm going to send all this to you. If you want to use it, feel free to use it. Can you go on to the next slide? I mean, my guys know about this. They've looked at them. Hopefully, they've used it all. Had a quick look at it. And this is on that's saying that the last letter at the bottom of it. It just explains to you. Here is the website and the e-magazines that they will get if they come on board. Okay. So you all know that to recruitment fit and all the and they can click on these because it's all my ones. They can click on it. They can see it. And they'll understand they're going to get all this. They can see that we're a professional outlet, and we can see we're part of a team that's going to actually teach them this method as well. Can I go on to the next slide? And again, this is part of the final information. And the process again is just asking the right questions. And John, I can see you understand it. You might listen to the scenario. You might be going this way. To start off with, he wasn't too sure. The next bit, he is sure about coming on board now. And I never ask him, I've never asked anyone. I didn't ask Michelle, I've never asked anyone, what do you think, are you coming on board? I'd go straight into the next planning, and it's up to them to say they don't want to. All right? I know you're probably trying to read all this, but I'm going to send it to you all anyway. Do you want to go into the next slide? Now, don't forget from the last slide what we just done, you asked them a question, and that was just a couple of the scenarios, and that bottom question is whether you're on Skype. I even use this when I'm face-to-face. I never ask them, are they coming on board? I always go to the scenario about moving forward, and it is, you've asked them 2 questions which I just mentioned then, and it is that old sales saying, because I'm from a sales background, he who speaks first loses, and it's true. If you overspeak, ask them 2 questions, you can relate the questions, then shut up and let them come back at you. I'm a fine one for that because I'll ask Zoe a question, and before she's answered, I'm asking her another one. And sometimes I've got to slow myself down to think, shit, I've asked them a question, they've not answered, and I've probably just gone past the sale or gone past somebody coming on board. So where am I going now? So again, if you say the timing is not right, what I tend to do as well is try and break it down. And again, 1 about keeping in touch with them. 2, mention about some of the products. Remember the rapport that you've been building up. You might find that did they do sports? They might have a sore shoulder back or whatever. They might have mentioned that. And you can mention about the 60-day guarantee and point them to the direction of your website to make an order. Now sometimes that will work. And again, the last thing I mentioned, and these are for people who are not going to come on board. The last thing I mentioned, can I link up with him, whether it be on LinkedIn, whether it be on Facebook, or any other social media that I'm on, so they can follow me and watch what I'm doing, and vice versa. And they're still in my pipeline, but on my pipeline notes, I will put on there, contact in 2 months, 3 months, and see how they're going on. Because I've got a pile of CVs, but them CVs are on my laptop as well. And that's pretty much it. If you go to the next slide, it finishes anyway. Right. And it is getting your flow. It is trying to talk to him a bit more and talk to him more. And it's a talk to him a bit more. To me, it's about rapport. And no matter what people, some people like Phil, some people don't like Phil, some people get along well with him. He's got a bloody good rapport of getting people into this business. Now, I've got another sheet that I'll send you as well. I call it the 10 steps to prospecting rapport. Now, I tend to be able to do that now without, not say thinking about it, but without referring to my notes of what you might have in your head. And sometimes I can skip note 1 and go to note 3 and note 4 and find it's about testing the waters when you're speaking to someone and they're ready to come on. I can send you that as well. But that's the method I tend to use, and it's there. So just to recap, it's the 3 letters. I've applied. I said letter 1, and that's asking for some time and with the link on it. Letter 2, I've explained to him in letter 1 I want to speak to him. And when I am speaking to him, I would say after the probably 5 to 6 minutes I'm on the phone to him, 4 minutes of that is asking him, 1, what did they say in the advert, and 2, what are they really looking for? Once I sent the second bit of information, which I've explained that information, what's coming over, and when letter 2 they've added, we've set up the second time to speak, whether it be via Skype or whether it will be by telephone. I go through the same method in 1, and that's asking them more about what they've seen, what jumped out about the reports, anything was interesting about it. I try to get their feedback and that they can see it working for them. And then when I send them the third letter, same again, I do that. It's very, very rare for me that I don't go through all them 3 periods of sending all the information out. When I get to the end, that's when sometimes, that's when you get that balance. Yes, it's for them, they can understand it. No, it's not for them. And it's very, very rare they don't go through that full process. Whether they're appeasing me to do it and just going through it, that period and speaking to me, that's fine. But I'll always come back to them in a few months' time. And I've done that with one or 2 people, and now they're back in my top of my pipeline that are interested to look at the business because their circumstances have changed, obviously. That's what I tend to do in a nutshell. I know it was pretty quick, and that's what I tend to do in a nutshell. But I've sent that out over to you. I know, Helen, you do adverts as well. I mean, what process are you using at the moment?
As a team, we never did adverts. This is the first time.
Oh, right.
The first time. Well, we have done it in the past. Yeah, I'm going back years ago. I've been in the business 8 years.
Right.
What we do with CVs is we do the CV search, and I can fingers crossed we're going to get that on board, are we?
I don't know. I'm waiting for an email to come back. And speaking to Denise, because she's in another syndicate, what they pay, and because I've got 28, they pay £1,000 a month, over £1,000 a month, and that includes the license. That's the license for that. So I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping we can get it. We'll get it. But I'm going to wait and see from what's his name? Oh, I forget his name now. I forget the name. Steve. I'm going to see what Steve replies back to me, because I assumed we had that in that, but I know the package is quite big, and I think with our package, I'm not holding out. Hopefully we've got something, but I will let you know first thing. I'll pass that email on to you, and I'll forward it on to you all.
So what I've done in the past is we've had we use a different company, so we could look at that as well, because I'm still in touch with the guy.
Okay.
That was $570 a month for us to have full access, and it included 4 licenses, whereby with the people that we've got, we'd share a license basically. So you'd work out between 2 people when you can go on, when you can't go on. But we used to block email them, and so we'd download the email addresses and block email them, and then periodically we'd phone them like cold. So we've seen your CV online. I can send you a script for that. And that is very effective. We've seen your CV online. We're phoning from an international company in the health and nutrition industry. And would you be open to looking at something whereby you'd be working for yourself from home alongside what you're already doing? And that has worked very effectively for me.
Yeah.
But the emailing has worked. I mean, it is when you're actually doing the CVs, when you're doing them in that way, it's not about doing 2 or 3. It's about doing 100, 200. You know.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. But that's how I got Jo in my business, who's an assistant manager. I actually emailed her husband, but she read it.
So did
No, she rings him out. She rings him straight away.
you ring them straight away before
Yeah.
emailing?
Both.
Right.
So it depends on what my workload is at any particular time. If I've got a whole day, then I'll spend a whole day just cold calling them.
Right.
And that's what I was going to plan on doing with these, because I wasn't sure what volume we were going to have, and I was just literally going to spend just like block time and then just call them, and that way
Right.
you're
Okay.
building rapport from the start. Very much on the same lines as Fitz. I don't necessarily send as much information to start with. I would whet their appetite with the website, so send them the Your Future. Obviously, we've got it on our websites. And then from that stage, depending on what rapport I built on the phone to start with, I would either send them the DVD link from the website, or arrange to do the online one-to-one, or if they're local, I'd arrange to meet for a coffee. So again, you've got to play it by ear with them and just build.
Yeah. Great.
I don't know. Has everybody?
If they're local, you just like arrange to meet for a coffee straight away without sending them any information.
If I've had a good rapport with them, yes. Yeah.
Well, you've done that a few times, Michelle, and it's worked for you.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. It is about building that rapport as quick as you can. It is. It really is.
Questions are the answers. Yeah.
Sorry?
Has everybody
I've got that.
Questions are the answers by Alan Pease.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant book for you to build rapport and find out exactly, because it's all about making it about them.
Yes.
It's not about what we're looking for. It's about what the opportunity can do for them. And that's
True.
the art is about turning it around so that they can understand what they can get from Forever. Which is why it's so good to
once if you get them to the final stage, the sign-on part of 200 quid, what happens if they don't have the money for that?
Well, what you've got to understand, John, through the presentations where it is, because on section 3 of this letter, there's a 40-minute presentation from head office through what's her name? Natalie Healy's team, and it's got it on there. It's 199.75. If they've not got it, they're not ready. You know, you have to show. If they're local, you can work with them to go and do some product launches to get the money. But they already know that, and 199.75p, I can guarantee if their TV broke down, they'll soon get it.
Exactly, it's about.
What you got to understand.
John, it's
but what you got to understand.
The right word.
Sorry, Sorry.
Go on. It's about turning it round, and as it's like Fitz said, you know, I would actually say that in a conversation. Well, what would happen if your TV broke down? And then shut
Right, I got you.
So, you know,
what you've got to understand, if it's coming from this advert, John, they'll understand it's commission only. They understand what they've got to do about this. A majority of people who apply for commission only jobs, they've got a little bit of oomph about them. They understand that they've got to go out and work and build a business. Now, when I was just sending them out without the information about on-target earnings, OTE, without not being commission only, I got a lot of replies back. But as soon as you you start talking to him, is it a job, and if it's just commission only, and that's a no-no. It puts a wall right up straight away. That's why I've changed the type of my ad, and I get better people talking to better people now.
Yeah.
Right, I got you.
All right.
And to be honest, if they say that they haven't got the money, it's just an excuse. So move on next.
Yeah, don't take it personal, John. If they've not got money, don't do it. It's fine. There's going to be other people.
And I've got to be honest,
and like Alan said, it's a numbers game.
People that haven't had the money, and I've actually put my hands in my pocket and got the money for them, and it's amounted to nothing, because if they really want to do it, they'll find the money.
And,
Right.
I mean, I always say to people, you know, if I do get into a conversation, perhaps I'm on a one-to-one basis having a coffee, and you've got to that stage, I will use my own story, and that's why it's so good to have your own story, because, I mean, I was a single parent and I didn't have the money, but I just did it.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the thing. If they won't have the money, if they haven't got it, they'll find it if they really want to do it.
yeah, exactly. So it's quite the approach.
Yeah, do you know what though? Look how expensive other businesses are to start up. And my first business that I started up cost me £7,000 in 1990.
Oh, are you that old?
What? Yeah, I'm afraid I.
What,
So
done it?
I can't. When they give me that, when they tell me they can't afford it, and I say to them, you know, it's relatively cheap for a start-up. Now, my first business, it was £7,000 to start up. I couldn't get a bank loan. We borrowed from family. And then we were putting so many hours into it that we had no quality of life. And we ended up paying the Inland Revenue for the next 10 years. So if you've got a story like that to tell, John,
Yeah.
it makes £199.75p sound minuscule.
It's my first business, cost me £110,000 for even opening
Yeah,
the door.
yours cost even more, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you put it like that, it makes that sound minuscule, £199.75p, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
I mean,
understand.
guys, I mean, the whole process of this really tonight is really just about finding what works for you regarding when you're approaching from adverts. One-to-ones and being in face-to-face with people is completely different.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you might be talking to someone who's, don't forget, just because you've got your area, what your advertising is, you're going to get people applying, it could be Scotland, bloody Australia, whatever. You're going to get the odd one or two who's going to pring onto them. One, because they might be coming back to the UK, or they've just seen it and just applied for it. So you have to be prepared to use a method that's comfortable for you when you're replying back to adverts. Hence, I do this, and then it's different when I'm doing a one-to-one. Because on a one-to-one basis, I prefer a one-to-ones when I can get them and they're doing better. But I prefer a one-to-one. I mean, we've just taken a new girl through from Zoe, and that was a great one-to-one. And she's been on our pipeline for probably about 6 weeks. And so that's worked on that side. But when it comes to the adverts, you have to try, you know, your ups and downs, your fails, your crosses, and your ticks, and crossing the I's and dotting the T's, and find what works for you. I'm just sending out to you guys what works for me. I'll send it all out to you, and by all means, feel free to use it. You know, if it works, fantastic. I just find I can't afford to spend, because with my wine job as well, I can't afford to spend a lot of time ringing dead numbers. That's why I can't afford a lot of time going through a lot of CVs. I do it this way. I've got my Facebook campaign. I'm going through a company called Scoot, and they're going to direct people to my leads and going to get leads from there. You know, so I tend to build up a lot of leads from that side, and it's proper leads that people are actually looking. So that's what, hence the style of the advert.
Yeah, no, great.
Okay.
Joe, could you send us your plan as well? Because it's quite good to have different plans for different people, isn't it?
That's for you, Helen.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
Sorry, I thought your name was Joe. Helen, beg your pardon. Helen.
Yeah.
Tracy, Jean, have you advertised before?
I did many years ago, but I didn't have a system or a plan, and I just floundered. But this is, to me, this is a great foundation to go forward with. It's what you're actually doing is you're filtering.
Yes.
Yes, you're filtering them as they come along, and if they're of value, you'll spend the time with them, and if they're not, you put them in your pipeline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Tracy, have you advertised before?
No, I've not advertised before. I was going to ask you, Helen.
Can't hear you, Tracy, sorry.
You sent them the HCP link,
No,
not the e-call.
I don't touch the HBP information, no. It's just
I don't use it neither.
No, waste of time.
confusing them, Tracy.
Okay.
Yep. It has to be. I mean, speaking to people like Nicola Lang, speaking to people like Emma Cooper, I had a good chat a few weeks ago with online through Facebook with Emma Cooper, and even Michelle has got the same information. What's come down to her, you have to start developing material within your team and about you. This is why through January, Denise, Michelle, Zoe and I, we just took a block out through January, part of December, of doing nothing but revamping a system for our team. Taking the bits out, what we need to take, and it's still ongoing. We've got our team driver that people can go into. I've diverted to a website of my own, going through Azure. It's just that we have to have your own identity as well, but still remember to use the third party of Forever Living and the tools what they've got, because sometimes it just becomes a minefield when especially sometimes when we and our team has struggled, when someone dangles the carrot and you go into their information, then HBP dangle the carrot and we spent all that time going all the way up to Milton Keynes. Nothing wrong with the group. The group's good. They're building a team, but from where we are down here, we feel left out. We feel lost. We're paying £17 for something that's not changed on that when I can do that myself. So if it's personal to me, my business is Azure Lifestyle Management. Our team is Azure Gold, and they can see that because it's a mixture of Denise's, a mixture of Michelle's, and them girls have worked their bloody socks off to get that process which is in now. So when people come on board, we have our 30-day introduction. They go through that plan. Then we put them in the six-week rolling program, which is just about to start finishing off. So that's what we're doing to making sure that team members stay active and rolling. John, who's come back into the fold properly now, John's just about to start the second part of the introduction again to freshen up. Then he's going in the 6 weeks rolling program, and I'm convinced he will be in that position that he knows this business is going to work for him. Because at the moment, they're plateauing all the time. You know, they're not getting that growth because they're not seeing a structure. Because, as Michelle's word, we were like the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, the thing
we
is,
put something together now.
Whatever we do, I mean, we're all in the same team.
Yeah.
We're all cross-lined to each other underneath Phil.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
And whatever we do, it's got to be duplicatable.
Yes.
And it's about, I agree. I mean, I need to look at your slides properly. I've gone through them quickly, but I agree. You know, get their work.
Who's crapping paper?
Get their appetite going to start with.
Denise!
So
I'm eating chocolate.
it's we send out the Emma Cooper, but we also send out, depending on who it is. So we've got 3. We do the Emma Cooper. We've got Jane Leach one. So if you're talking to a business lady rather than a mum.
Yeah.
And we also do the Andy Waring one as well. So if you're talking to a man, then we send the Andy Waring one.
Yeah. Well, our first one, what we send, the first link on the second one, it's actually Bob up on stage going through. It's a 20-minute one going through. I think it was 2015. I think it was going the early 2015, going through the marketing plan, going through about the company and how it works and what we do.
Yeah.
That bit tends to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, yeah, sure. I mean, when it comes to advertising and recruiting, I'm okay at cross-purposing and working as a team in that respect because we're all on the same hymn sheet, wanting to get people into our business, and that is, as we know, that is key.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm always here to help, and I'm sure if I ask for help of one of you guys, I'm sure I'll get it as well.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about.
Okay.
So great.
So Helen, I can't hear you very well. Did you say you changed the link according to the person?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
You
which
can do that
Andy
as well.
Waring videos do you use?
Sorry?
Which Andy Waring video do you use?
5-minute Andy Waring one. I'll send them out in an email.
The 5-minute one. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got it. You've got it.
Yeah, I know.
And then,
I mean, on the second letter that I sent, sometimes I change Emma Cooper's one because depending on who I'm speaking to, I know it sounds daft as well, depending what religious background, what race background, whatever, sometimes I'll play devil's advocate. And age, I'll swap it around.
Yeah.
Is it Shaz, or what's her name? Shaz something, the Indian lady, Asian lady, who's a saw him manager now. I mean, she used to work in Carrefour Warehouse. Now, there was an Asian community, a young Asian community I was talking to. She was at, Asian lady I was talking to was at university. And I sent her afterwards, I just thought, bloody hell, let me just send it. And I sent her that. And bugger, does she know her? So, that's all. So, but the point is, it's just like you said, I like that idea of just matching the person's personality to the video it's going to, yeah. I've not got enough mum ones. That's what I need. I need enough late ones that appeal to mums. That's what I need as well. So if you know any links on that one, that would be appreciated.
Yeah.
What's her name? The dodgy eyebrows, isn't it? Is her mum?
You're all in Mark's team, aren't you?
Yes. Well, we're part of that, yeah.
Yeah. So,
You see,
I'm
we go under Phil Coney.
I'm on. Yeah, we're all into Phil Koenig. So I'm on Mark's Mumpreneurs website. My link.
All right.
I'll send it all to you. You can have a look at it.
What's it called? Mark's mum's website?
No, it's my own website with him. I can't remember the exact website because it's only just literally
All right. Okay.
just been launched. But we all did like a couple of minutes. So Joe's on it as well, and another lady in my team's on it.
All right. Okay. Well, that sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'll send all these little bits off in the morning, and hopefully I'll get some news from the our guys and see if we've got the background stuff on the adverts, and then we'll move on from there. And hopefully we can all work together of crossing line and crossing ideas.
Yeah, brilliant. I have recorded this.
Okay.
I'll put the recording in the Facebook page. Facebook.
Great. No worries.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
My throat's going.
Bye.